Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Today's topic, Russia lectures Israel. We are August 10, 2020. Son of man, set your face toward Gog of the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And that's Ezekiel 38, verse 2. And this was actually this statement was made a few days ago, and it's a statement that was released from the Russian Foreign Ministry directed to the nation of Israel. And here's the quote from the Russian Foreign Ministry. On the evening of August 3rd, the Israeli Air Force launched strikes on the positions of the Syrian military in response to an alleged attempt by unknown persons earlier that day to plant an explosive device near the dividing line in the occupied Golan Heights. At the same time, the Israelis, as expected, placed all responsibility for the incident on the Syrian side. According to the incoming reports, observation posts, anti-aircraft guns, objective control systems, as well as command posts of the SAR armed forces, that'd be the Syrian armed forces, were subjected to an air attack. We strongly condemn these actions and express our serious concern about the next aggravation of relations between Israel and Syria. We warn the Israeli leadership against repeating such steps fraught with dangerous consequences for the entire Middle East region. We express our support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the SAR, that'd be Syria. We call on both sides to show restraint and prevent further escalation of tensions. Well, that's the Russian side of it. And that was taken from almazdarnews.com. Russia warns Israel against launching more strikes in Syria. Now, if you listen to Syria, they are targeting Iranian Shia militants, including Hezbollah. So they're going around taking out Iranian stuff, Hezbollah stuff, not necessarily Syrian. Now, it is what it is. But that's Russia. First century Jewish historian Flavius Josephus indicated the Magogians were also called the Scythians by the Greeks. They lived north of the Black Sea during the same time period. Philo equated Magog with southern Russia. So for 1,200 years, the Bible and historians of their day equated the people of Magog with the Scythians. They lived in modern-day Russia. The Bible and historians are consistent. Magog is modern-day Russia. Now, Ezekiel 38 and 39 tells us Magog will invade Israel in the future. And Magog will be joined by Turkey, Iran, Libya, Sudan. That's the crew who's going to join the crowd. Possibly Ethiopia may have a finger in that. But, we're going to take a look at this in more depth here and the impact this is going to have. Because in light of the explosion that took place about a week ago in Beirut, everybody's pointing the finger at Hezbollah on that deal. Even the people of Lebanon are upset with the terrorist organization Hezbollah. They've had some protests and some riots in the street. And as of today, August 10th, 2020, the entire Lebanese government has resigned. So no one is at the wheel in charge in Lebanon. And there are many suitors who want to fill the vacuum of power. For example, you read this down below in the statement from the Lebanese prime minister. They want to turn it over to the people and let the people vote. Well, you can bet Russia wants to step in. Turkey wants to step in. Hezbollah has been in charge. People are fed up with Hezbollah. There are also some unconfirmed reports that leadership of Hezbollah has fled to Damascus. Now, again, that's unconfirmed, but there is some scatter on the internet that may have happened. And of course, Iran would love to have their fingers in the middle of Hezbollah and take more control. So you got lots of people who want to fill the vacuum. And every time in recent history, when a vacuum is created, biblical prophecy steps in, and we usually get one step closer. That's been the pattern for about the last, starting about 2011 with the Arab Spring. Stands to reason that's probably going to continue. But the big time consequences are at stake on the northern border of Israel. And we're going to take a look at a map here in a little bit, but I want to get to Lebanon's Prime Minister Hassan Diab has announced the resignation of Lebanon's government amid widespread anger at the country's ruling elite over last week's devastating explosion in Beirut. And you can see the citizens taken to the street. You can also have video of where Hezbollah is shooting at the citizens. I mean, it's a mess. You got people fed up with it. And that port was controlled by Hezbollah. There are all sorts of things. I think, was it 80? I've seen 80 to 85% of the food and the grain was either stored or run through that port in Lebanon. So all that was blown up. And you got to suspect at some point there's going to be starvation. Food shortages are going to be a thing in pretty short order. That may be a reason the government's skipping out of Dodge. They don't want to have to try to manage that because the food sources have been, scattered all over the place. If you want to click on this, you can click on this link right here and listen to the Prime Minister resign the entire government of Lebanon today. And so it just stands to reason, in light of prophecy, betting odds are Russia fills the void in Lebanon. Ezekiel 39:2 says, "And I will turn you about," that's in reference to Gog, "and turn you about and drive you forward and bring you up from the uttermost parts of the north." Well, the uttermost parts of the north of Israel are Russia. It's Turkey or Russia. Those are your two options. "And I will lead you against the mountains of Israel." Well, I suppose Lebanon could do it, but Lebanon's in no position to go invade Israel at this point. And we'll take a look at a map so you can get a lay of the land here. So right through here, this is where we're talking about. This would be the Israeli-Lebanon border. And we'll zoom in. There's Mount Hermon. Here are the mountains in the north. Here are the Golan Heights. We have Russian troops along here. We have Syrian troops. We have Iranian troops. Back this out a little further. Come on up here. Beirut. Latakia, big Russian sea and naval base in Latakia. Not a problem for Russia to bring their forces down through here, take control of this situation, and then they would have troops all along the border. Right here, we know they're already here on the Golan Heights. They've been there since, they came into Syria 2015, and I think within a year or two, they had troops stationed down here on the Golan Heights. Well, fill the void, and they can have troops all along the northern border, just as Ezekiel said, from the uttermost parts of the north, and lead you against the mountains of Israel. Well, that's where the mountains of Israel are located, right through here. Fits like a glove. So the question gets to be, is this the time? Would appear to be. And, you're just looking at all the things that are in play right now from this region, from Hama, Aleppo. It starts Jeremiah 49, closes, and I think verses 23 through 27, it ends in Damascus. But Jeremiah says all the trouble starts up north, right here, works its way down this, what is this highway now? I don't know. That obviously that highway didn't exist back in the day, but through Idlib, Hamath, ends in Damascus with the destruction of Damascus. We get that in Isaiah 17 as well. We're looking at Ezekiel 38 and 39. So we've got three prophets very descriptive as to what's going to take place in this little strip of land from Damascus up to Aleppo, to the Mediterranean, into Lebanon. Lebanon's ultimately restored, but they go through a bunch of hardship before they are restored. Makes you wonder if we're beginning to see some of those things start to happen, because you get food scarce. It brings lots of violence into play in a hurry. So, and to back this out and look at this region, you got some other things going on. Turkey, Erdogan he's very active, and him and Greece are about ready to go to blows over oil and natural gas out here in the Mediterranean. Greece has a deal with the Egyptians, so they've got their thing going. Turkey has a deal with the Libyans. They've got their thing going. And so you have a nice little X out there in the Mediterranean, and everybody's sticking their resources out there, saying the other one's crossing into their territory. Greece and Turkey want to go. So keep your eye on that. This whole region right now, this Eastern Mediterranean region, is really heating up. So could be an interesting, fall feast coming up mid to late September, the next month or so. Just keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on all this stuff in the Middle East. But big time happenings. If you are interested in this sort of thing and you want to follow it, please follow at PaulthePoke.com. You can type your email address in here. We have something that's going up. Looks like the news flow is going to be picking up. Probably going to have some more things going up. Also got some other things that we have other authors that are putting some stuff up as well. This will be categorized, or was categorized, under Ezekiel 38 and 39. It's under prophecy, and it's under a trend update. So keep your eyes on the Middle East. I know we are all consumed here in the United States with COVID and anything Trump says or does. The press is obsessed with that. Well, there are other things going on in the world, and they have significant potential prophetic implications. So again, am I saying these are the times? No, I'm not, but things are lining up, and every time a vacuum has been created, prophecy has stepped in its place. So be watchful. Appreciate you guys following along. Take care. Bye.